Over the weekend, one of my favorite Democratic congresspeople, Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who is brilliant and incisive, he is one of the Democratic intellectual heavyweights, went on Meet the Press to confront the king of whataboutisms and false equivalences, Chuck Todd, about whataboutisms and false equivalences. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Maybe check out my Patreon. I'd appreciate the support. So Chuck Todd, I think I've criticized him multiple times on this channel. As a matter of fact, I think his tenure as the moderator or host of Meet the Press, I think is rapidly coming to a close. I think he's going to be done in a couple of months, thank God, because we need somebody who is much more objective. And unfortunately, a lot of people conflate objective with equal or fair. And here's what I want to say to that. If you are having a conversation with a flat earther and a round earther, some people would say, well, to be objective, you need to pretend that both sides have equal merit. You need to be fair in that respect. So you need to treat the round earther and the flat earther with equal degrees of credibility. I disagree. I don't think that's objective at all. I think that if you take two wildly asymmetrical sides in a debate and pretend that they are equitable or comparable in terms of their credibility or legitimacy, you are not being objective at all. You are being an enlightened centrist, indulging or creating false equivalences, and that's bad. So hopefully the next host of Meet the Press will be really fair and really objective and treat these issues on a case-by-case basis. If there are conversations with people who have, comparable or understandable positions, then fair enough. But if you have a situation where, again, flat earther, round earther, climate change acceptor or climate change denier, or somebody who believes, for example, Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, which is the correct view, or Donald Trump had the election stolen from him, hopefully the next moderator will treat those positions accordingly. But getting back to Jamie Raskin, they discuss whataboutisms and false equivalences with respect to contemporary politics and the scandals associated with the Biden family and the Trump family. So let's take it away.
We're going to have a campaign that is going to be filled with a lot of whataboutisms. We know the Republicans are going to talk about Hunter Biden a lot here.
Indeed. In freaking deed, they will. They will never stop talking about Hunter Biden. If they could find a way to thread the Hunter Biden needle with like Benghazi or Hillary's emails, that would be like the ultimate crossover conspiracy event. It would be like the MCU, the Infinity War saga of conspiracy theorists and lunatics.
And I know that a lot of the technical defense of the president with Hunter Biden is, well, the president didn't do anything wrong. But as Michael Kinsley...
A lot of the... See, that's what I'm talking about. This is why I dislike Chuck Todd so much. A lot of the technical defense of President Biden is that he didn't do anything wrong, technically speaking. So absurd and so disingenuous. But go ahead, Chuck.
Once said, the real scandal in Washington is not what's illegal, it's what's legal. Should there be a code of conduct, something for family members here? Because the appearance of what Hunter Biden did is not good.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there is a lot of,
For the record, there is much about the appearance of what Hunter Biden did that was not good. But as Jamie Raskin points out, okay, well, if that's your metric, there are other bigger examples you could be talking about, but you don't, which makes you part of the problem, Chuck.
Influence in Washington that's based on people's family connections and family
names
ties.
Matter a lot on K Street, as you know.
And I have repeatedly asked Chairman Comer on the Oversight Committee for us to look at that in a serious and substantive and methodical and nonpartisan way. But he's instead decided to just pursue the Hunter Biden thing as a one-off, as a way to score cheap political points. He doesn't want to...
Yeah, I proposed to Chairman Comer, hey, why don't we look at this substantively and comprehensively, and just see where the chips fall. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You mean you don't want me to make a targeted case against the civilian son of the current president, who happens to be my political opponent and my master's political opponent, his master, of course, being Donald Trump? You don't want me to do that? You want me to widen the net and make it a more comprehensive review of nepotism in Washington, D.C. and follow the facts wherever they may lead? No way.
Talk about Jared Kushner, who brought back $2 billion, not million, $2 billion from Saudi Arabia to a company he created the day after the Trump administration ended, when there was still blood all over the Capitol.
So that right there, and listen, and in a way I'm guilty of this too, because, I have unfortunately been put in a position, or perhaps put myself in the position, where I have litigated the Hunter Biden issue with a number of conservatives, or again, enlightened centrists, in debates and streams. And I do think that's important to do so strategically and politically, because whether we like it or not, Republicans are making hay of this politically. They are weaponizing the Hunter Biden situation. And to some extent, I mean, it is successful. It dominates much of the news cycle, of course, on Fox News, which is the single most successful of the mainstream media, but also because, it's sensational and things like that. Other, like MSNBC covers it, CNN covers it, the New York Times covers it. I mean, Hunter Biden is talked about all the time everywhere, even if it's by people like me trying to refute the right-wing talking points. So you have to balance that imperative, that need to refute, while also trying not to breathe life into a nothing burger. But Jamie Raskin is correct that at the end of the day, if this were really a matter of substance, if this were something that Republicans and conservatives really cared about on principle, then they would devote at least as much attention to Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. But quite frankly, even that's being generous. They should devote 10, 20, 30 times the effort and the scrutiny into Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump for a number of reasons, as we talked about. Number one, we used to believe in the Uncle Ben Spider-Man ethic. With great power comes great responsibility. So that's premise one. Premise two is Hunter Biden has only ever been a private citizen. While he may be corrupt, while he may be, a Nepo baby, while he may be, somebody who has issues with the law, he has never wielded power like Jared and Ivanka, who, number three, were members of the Trump White House. They actually wielded state government power. Therefore, according to principle one, they have more responsibility to behave themselves and behave ethically than Hunter Biden. Government actors are held and should be held to higher standards, Republicans or Democrats, liberals or conservatives, than private citizens. We used to believe that. Number four, Hunter Biden has been investigated multiple times, 4 levels at least at the federal, or 4 times at the federal level, twice by the executive branch, twice by Republicans in Congress or the Senate. Number five, the scale of the potential criminality. So right now, Republicans are pearl clutching about what Hunter Biden may have done with respect to $5 or $6 million payouts, which, by the way, they can't prove. But let's take that at face value, $5 or $6 million. It's not good. But $2 billion from the Saudis, that's literal orders of magnitude more, okay? So if you're freaking out about $5 to $6 million payouts, you should be hundreds, thousands of times freaking out more about a $2 billion payout from the Saudis. Number five, when Jared Kushner was in the White House working for his father-in-law, Donald Trump, he was the Trump attaché, Donald Trump's chosen representative to Saudi government. So there's a clear connection there. But James Comer and the Republican Party don't care about that. So my advice to you, if you're watching, and anybody wants to talk to you about Hunter Biden, I think you hit him. I think you hit him with Jared Kushner. I think you hit him with Ivanka Trump. You just spent listen. Jared Kushner, you say Hunter Biden's a private citizen. He's been investigated 4 times. Right now, he's being prosecuted for crimes. I am done talking about Hunter Biden until you commit, Mr. Conservative, Mr. Republican, to looking at least as hard at Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump until you say, yes, I support that because I actually oppose corruption and nepotism as a general rule, not just when Democrats potentially do it, as a general rule for Republicans or Democrats. Unless you commit to that, I'm not saying anything about Hunter Biden. That's what you should do. That's the sort of mentality you should have, and get them on the record. If you really care about corruption, if you really care about fighting nepotism, then we can't just look at it when it's Democrats or liberals or whatever. We actually have to look at Republicans as well, especially when there's really compelling evidence to do so. So that's my advice to you all, and try it and see what happens.